neutralizer as well that ahq do have. Then the double bombs can come in on top of that. We'll see whether ahq can layer all this, because it's an interesting team composition. We haven't seen these 5 champions laid out together for a long time.
Yeah, they're very unorthodox composition, but EDG on the other side, not such the case. You got the Hecarim for the engage, fairly straightforward. Poppy can provide, of course, a little bit of crowd control, some disengage. Coaches shake hands. This is a highly anticipated matchup here between EDG and ahq, and it's our last one of the day.
Yeah, it most certainly is. And one last time today, hop on Twitter and send us the hashtag EDG win or the hashtag ahq win to @LOL eSports, and we'll see who you're backing and let you know during the game. But my goodness, once again, it's a Hecarim. I mean, I'm going to try not to get triggered. Seeing Hecarims is a scary thing for me, because he did fall out of favor a little bit and didn't quite win as many games over in the LPL. But Clear Love, of course, an outstanding jungler, and we saw MLXG do ridiculous things on it yesterday.
Yeah, and Hecarim has just been so popular in the LPL all season long, and I think that it does work well with those speed ups that you have from the Karma. You have this really kind of strong front line too, with the Mouse, with Clear Love flying in, looking for those flanks, and it's really going to be a lot about the team fighting and how much faith they're putting in Deft here to carry, because they can protect him and he is going to be the one to put out a lot of the damage.
And once again, now he's on this early game powerhouse of the Lucian. We know what this champion's capable of, and can he get off to that start that EDG really want from him? And can Mouse neutralize this lane against the Rumble on the Poppy, because it was so heavily targeted yesterday?
And I've got to say, I think he can. I just don't see, Mountain on this Olaf and Ziv on the Rumble as super lane down, as super heavy ganking champions. Yep. Unless Mouse is playing too aggressive, unless he's playing far up, he's not really going to be super susceptible to these ganks.
That's a lot about the top side. If you want to check out more about the bottom side, you can see it Mako versus Albus. You can check that over out on the player experience streams, but we're here in the whole game. We've got Deft Mako. They spot the ward.
And they get the kill. First CS going for EDG as Arn gets the volley onto Deft. Mako.
Oh, here's Pawn.
Yeah, in goes Pawn. That's the flash already. The Ignite's down. Arn, will they flash for it? One more auto attack was there, but they needed a few more. Not getting greedier. EDG is Deft, just playing with the turret range. Oh my goodness. They got something to prove today.
This basically just won EDG the laning phase. Like, they pushed them back at level 1 to the point where Ann has to flash. The exhaust is gone, and Albus is stuck around on low health.
But Mako's in trouble.
Yeah, flash.
Oh, and he gets the
flash, and there's the Undertow Mountain. Looking for Mako. There's, of course, no flash here. Pawn, does he have to take care of everyone? As this is taking some time. Another ebb and flow. Dip down down. Albus has to run. What the heck was that? Mako, you should be dead. Flat out, you should be dead.
Mountain ran out of mana. He had no more axes to throw, it looked like there. They just didn't have the damage to finish off Mako, and this is massive for EDG as back goes Mountain into the jungle. No leash. Clearlove's already level 2, working his way down to the bot side.
The most ridiculous start to a game we've had so far here at Worlds. There is one advantage that comes out for ahq, and it's a minimal one, in that Chowie hit level 2 first from mid lane. He got the push. He was able to get level 2, punish his pawn slightly, but again, we spoke about this. It's a Karma lane. It's not the same kind of equivalent. Zilean isn't going to have full control over this, so it's a minimal lead at best.
Yeah, and on the other side of the rift, of course, Clearlove has just had free reign of his jungle. Still just charging around, clearing out as many camps as possible. 12-6 now in comparison to Mountain. So this Hecarim, the weak early game that you expect from this champion, most certainly not there and not going to be punished here by ahq.
Deft goes forward.
Yeah, big combo there. Deft does find the Q. Arn still okay as Albus is able to heal him back up.
Clearlove's actually pinging around here. They may be looking to go on Chowie if he does move a little bit too far forward.
Yeah, look at that ghost cooldown, because Clearlove will be popping that if they want to go for this kill.
Here they go.
There it is. The ghost has been popped. There's a flash by Pawn. They do want to get it. Clearlove knocks him back. Chowie is dead and Pawn gets first blood.
Beautiful play there by Pawn. He flashes forward with the tether immediately. So even though Chowie reactively flashed, he could not get out of range of the tether. They lock him down, and Clearlove knocks him back in for an easy first blood.
Welcome to the World Championships. Chowie gets
First blooded for ahq, couldn't stay alive.
He didn't have a lot of options in his defense.
That's fair. I was going to say he actually had put 2 points in queue, which is fairly standard for Zilean players, which means he had no hope. Despite having the flash available, couldn't maneuver away fast enough as soon as it comes up. There was no real one.
So well played. He knew that Chawi would flash away. He speeds himself up, is right on top of him. So even though Chawi flashed away, he could not get out of range of the tether. And once he's locked in for that, Clearlove pushes him back in with his E. And just so well coordinated there, but you have to say, top lane looking pretty rough already.
Again, he's not fit. On's in trouble, destroyed as Def grabs another one, and Clearlove, this guy, here to prove that yesterday is something that we should just not be talking about at all.
Easy play onto the flashless Ashe in the bottom lane. Clearlove is making his mark on this game so quickly, and at this point EDG may even be looking to run away with this very early on.
Yeah, and I mean, I take back everything I said about Hecarim not being an early game jungler. That's 2 successful ganks, didn't look too bad.
We have to keep in mind though, ahq is actually winning out in farm very heavily in topside and in the mid lane, even despite that first blood. So this is not that massive of a gold lead just yet.
There is a reason for that in the middle lane, and that's that Chawi expended his teleport, whereas Pawn did not off that trade in the middle lane. So Pawn just kind of recalled, bought up, ran back to lane. So he's okay sacrificing some of that CS difference in order to become involved in fights. Maybe he'll be able to bail out Mouse if he ends up in a tough situation here. An has come up to the top side. Kind of a delayed lane swap coming out from ahq from being so far behind. We've seen this after the first back timings from AD carries in winning top lane matchups, but ahq, they haven't got enough pace here to take the tower.
That was very close, the undertow steal, as Clearlove looking to try and defend for his top lane. Is ahq well and truly committed to this lane swap?
And I mean, Ziv needs to get down to the bot side because otherwise they're just going to give up this turn. He gets stopped again, I guess, decides to cancel that base, but it's going to be able to give Deft a lot of free time on the bot side, and they're moving 5 top. They want to commit to this.
Yeah, Charlie wants to take that one down. Mountain here clearing out the pink ward that was put down. Mouse and Clearlove get themselves to safety. As you can see, Mako and Deft already at work trying to take down that turret. It's a race for first blood turret.
It's going to ahq.
Yeah, it's going to ahq, and this is actually going to even out that gold almost completely.
Massive, massive commitment up into that top side. They had the Rumble ultimate available as well. Now, Ziv goes to the bottom side to defend. Pawn is going to come in here. They're going to look to dive Ziv, but there goes the minion wave. Cancel on the TP out by Pawn.
This is brilliant by ahq. This was actually such a good move. They timed it out very well. Ziv gets level 6, so he's able to respond. Bot side, TP's back. Pawn has to waste his TP because the Rumble ult just clears that out. So really nice adaptation. And ahq, yes, they're down 2 kills, and the level 1 was horrible. They're up gold. They're doing great.
Yeah. Gotta keep everything. You know, you gotta make sure you can see the forest for the trees at that point. The actual advantage that is there. So at this point, Ziv has such a big advantage over Mouse as well. We can see the CS difference. This time, Mouse has only really had 1 play go against him and kind of is in the same spot. Admittedly, you were talking about the Poppy Rumble matchup, Azael. Maybe not exactly the most Poppy favored.
No, definitely not, but I did not expect it to look like this. And to be fair, there was 5 ahq members in the top lane at like 6 minutes, right? So that
one play.
It might be one play,
time,
but a pretty significant play. And I think that as long as he doesn't bleed out too much CS, they're definitely fine. They are down a little bit of gold, but they can recoup that later on. Still, I think it was an intelligent move, and one that had to be made because Ashe was at such a disadvantage to the solution at this point in the game. They were just trying to stay away.
Oh, blue steal from Clearlove. Just pops in, says thanks for the leash, and wanders on out. Almost too easy there.
And that's where Mountain just needs to smite it. When you see Clearlove coming in, yes, you want to give that over to Chawi, but it's much better to just take it for your own team.
Oh, you can see Chawi now back to try and throw some bombs at this minion wave. EDG looking to take down this bot lane outer turret. Mountain's waiting in the wings to try and find his way through. Albus, decent silence field. He lands some star calls there as well.
And just look at the level difference here between Deft and On. Because of that roam, he's down 2 levels. So calling is available for Deft, and because of that, Mountain has to be down here helping to protect them because they are definitely in a lot of trouble right now just off the XP disadvantage.
And with that tower so low already in EDG's favor, the culling can come out on the next minion wave that comes through, push it back. They're going to be able to take it down. You can see ahq going to bail out of that situation as quickly as possible because Ziv is on the top side. He can't help out down there with the equalizer to push it back like he did last time either. So ahq will inevitably give up the lead over to EDG from that tower going down, but EDG at least are, able to secure as well their own jungle from this too.
Yeah, very cute was Mouse coming down, leashing for Pawn, making sure that Clearlove didn't have to show himself around anywhere as Ziv was trying to poke his head in. Deft continues to farm here as well, but EDG have done well to try and neutralize, and they will be able to get that outer turret on the bottom side of the map, get ahead in gold once again. But ahq, I mean, it's once again just a square game after what was a nightmare start.
So we were talking about Deft pushing this out with the culling. What he's doing is punishing ahq a little bit longer because Arn can't come to this bot side to farm. There's almost no point until it pushes past the turret. And Rumble is so far pushed up top that there's no wave to secure there either. So it's a dangerous game for ahq to try and farm this one out. If EDG actually go aggressive on the tower here, Deft can push up, just trying to push him back. And EDG will get the tower in eventually.
Yeah, trying to deny as many minions as possible. And of course, ahq knew that there was no vision available for EDG. They do have very good bot side vision control. You can see those 4 pink wards sort of lining the river and up towards their blue buff. So defensive play out of ahq, but EDG just look to be playing their game, and they know that they just have so much control in a micro setting in this game. They've already demonstrated that.
Yeah, they certainly do, and also the importance of Deft getting ahead. He is the guy where all this gold is actually focused for EDG. He's a lot up, and it's okay that Poppy is behind as long as Deft is going to be strong, because he's the guy that a lot of the damage has to come out of. They have this Pawn playing Karma in the mid lane. They have the Nami, so they have people to buff up and protect the Lucian. And if Deft gets strong enough, he can just go nuts in these team fights, and he's still 2 levels up on, which is pretty incredible 10 minutes in.
Almost has his Ghostblade completed as well, as those Berserker's Greaves look to be coming in next. That is a 20 CS lead, but Arn looks to be trying to close it, holding that wave over his side of the map, and Mountain waiting in this Dragon Pit. See what ahq are thinking of.
It's a really good thing for EDG, to have this Lucian so far ahead, in the sense that post 30 minutes, they're going to rely on him for a lot of the damages you're talking about.
Has to use the Ragnarok, but good timing to make sure that Aqua Prison didn't get any stun time. Well, that's a big cooldown, and now EDG with an option, they're heading towards that dragon.
Oh, they're heading for Arn right now. You can see how far Deft and Mako are going aggressive.
Ziv takes a cue from Mouse, but Mouse is more than fine. I mean, this is a wave pushing towards him. We'll just be able to hang out underneath this turret. On, tethers up Chowie one more time. Ooh. Man, that Mantrid Q damage is dumb. Unable to get the kill though.
It definitely does.
It is. It's really dumb.
But he has Soraka, can heal him right back up.
Oh, no.
So the mobile ambulance.
Oh dear. Well, not quite level 6, so no global presence from that Soraka at this point. Out goes Ziv.
Looking for the heroic charge. Good slow as Clearlove pushes him back. Look at that Sheen charge as Ziv doesn't get stunned, but he does get killed. And Clearlove's going to get that one. Ooh, Enchanted Crystal Arrow from the mid lane. That was exciting, but Pawn doesn't quite find his life here as he flashes out of the way. The bomb! Delayed death, but death nonetheless as Pawn falls down. Mountain may fall as well. It's heroic charge. Ultimate to come down onto the Olaf, but is he too far away? Yes, he is. He's most certainly dead as Deft grabs the kill.
Grabs the kill from the mid lane play. ahq pushing up too far in 2 lanes. Ziv had been so far pushed up for the last 4 minutes or so in this game, constantly pushing on that top side, trying to just get everything that he can in the form of map control, but it was too far up without the right vision control. He wasn't able to back away despite, Maus kind of going aggressive a little early. Clearlove just charges in, gets himself into the fray, and then mid lane ahq, Mountain overextends as well.
Yeah, the thing I do like about this situation is the fact that it's Clearlove getting ahead as well, and we know that Hecarim's, ever since he's been a top laner, is a carry champion. He's building the Trinity Force. He's going to get to that spike earlier than normal. And Clearlove is a player that's used to getting gold. If he can get it, he's more than happy to transition that into advantages. So Mouse not necessarily farming all that well, or Pawn being behind, isn't a problem, because Clearlove and Deft are able to take over this game. This team has always been multifaceted in how they manage to transition gold from whatever they get in the early game.
Yeah, and then nice little freeze kind of set up here by Deft. He's just trying to starve as much farm away from On as he can, because this Ashe is already behind and is going to be working towards that Essence Reaver. When he just has those components and Deft has that Ghostblade, he's so much stronger at this point. So
flaunting it on the bottom side of the map right now. Leandri's Torment is done by Ziv in response to the Spirit Visage that Mouse has been able to complete those. So first items coming in for the top laners.
On's actually looking for Pawn here in the mid lane. Let's see if he can hit the arrow. There goes. Got him.
The Inspire's there for the shield, but look at the bomb damage. The silence field from Albus as well. I mean, there was no flash, but he's definitely not getting out of that one.
And that's exactly what you need to do as On in this situation. He can't match up against the depth, but he's a playmaking AD carry. Goes mid lane, gets a second kill onto Pawn. Really well done.
Beautiful, balancing of the crowd control there, gets the silence at the end of it as well, just to be able to make sure Pawn can't get himself away, can't survive for long enough. So ahq, good playmaking from the middle lane. Bot lane was shoved up in response from EDG, which now An is going to go over and absorb for himself. But look at that CS difference. 40 CS down already.
And unfortunately, the wave had already bounced, so we already missed out on a lot of that farm, and it is going to push right back to Deft, which means Deft is going to get even farther behind. But ahq, honestly, a pretty good early game here. It's 15 minutes in. The game is incredibly close.
Yeah, exactly right. There's nothing really that's a problem for ahq if you're looking for definitive leads. And EDG, they do have the tools to create a victory, but we saw yesterday that this is their statement game. They need to get themselves back into the right headspace right here.
The only problem really is just On. He needs to be able to catch up because this guy needs to be relevant. I don't think that the Rumble and the Olaf later in the game are going to be able to take down Deft very easily with the protection that he has from Nami, the shields from Pawn and Mouse even. So he has a lot of peel, and if they don't have high physical damage coming in from On as well, I'm not sure that they're going to be able to deal well with Deft in the team fighting stage.
Going to be real tough.
Yeah, and having to deal with Clear Love at the same time as well, the helicopter horse flying in over the top.
Well, it is amazing at this point. I guess it's not,
unfortunately
not at this World Championship, but for ahq, they are looking with a drone, just gets it over there.
Counts it in, Deft throws out the culling like you were talking about before, deals with that minion wave. Tycaller's Blessing helps out as well, as Mountain is hanging around but can't really break anything over.
Chowi's roaming down, or at least was starting to, but was spotted on a ward. Top side though, Clearlove goes aggressive into the enemy jungle as well, pushing Ziv back. But ahq, heavy focus on this bottom lane tower.
They know exactly what they want. Down to half health already, as Deft and Mako still thinking about trying to get something done. Mountain tanks up a couple of the turret shots.
I mean, Mouse is almost here as well, so they could look to try to have a fight. Speaking of Mouse, he really has kind of kept pretty close as far as the CS lead. Yes, it is 20 plus, but it's not a devastating lead. It's not like anything like what happened yesterday for them. So he has kind of done his job. He's in a bit of a rough matchup. He's playing a defensive champion, and he's going to be more than strong enough to be relevant in these team fights.
He just wants to be a linebacker, right? So Poppy is always going to do Poppy things no matter what you do. Mouse, thankfully, not too worried. We saw Darshan do a very similar thing day one in the first game. That Poppy was fantastic, and we'll see whether Mouse is going to be able to live up to that.
Don't remind me. Day one, I want out of my memory.
ahq, though, going to grab that first dragon of the game, and we'll be able to have that working for them. It's going to be really nice, especially for a champion like Soraka, who can stand super far back and sometimes avoid getting hit by those enemy champions. Keep that regen coming, especially it's extra nice for Soraka because you're spending both health and mana all the time, so you're able to kind of double dip on that dragon.
Yeah, one thing I do like about EDG's composition, I guess, against Albus on this Soraka is the fact that they have heaps to commit. Like, if they want to go in, they are going to go in, and they ain't coming out until they've killed everyone or died. So with Poppy and the Hecarim there, we'll see whether that's going to be enough to nullify all of that staying power that Soraka provides.
Clearlove's going to grab the Rift Herald buff then. Not one we often see, but obviously will charge up and give him that extra damage that he's going to want.
Chinese thing as well. I mean, giving the Rift Herald over to the jungler is something that RNG is definitely proponent of.
I was going to say, typically MLXG just goes no mine a third of the time.
Most things, I think.
To most things around the map. Well, I guess Uzi's the one going mine with all the support, with all the gold on that team. But at this point, ahq want to say mine to all of the territory around the river, but EDG are there, taking control of it. There's 3 pink wards. Good surround around that top side, keeping
on top of all of that vision as well.
Coming down too, though.
Yeah, exactly right. We've got a collapse. As you know, the speed coming out of Clearlove is something that they really have to stay aware of because he can cover so much distance, especially with Inspire help out of Pawn. Clears out those minion waves.
Pace, we saw that in this series against the Flash Wolves. We've seen it multiple times out of ahq.
Really creative as well, like out of what they decided to do in order to deal with EDG's strength.
And LMS as a region is generally pretty happy playing it slow, but ooh, whiffed ulti there.
Yeah, not a great one as Mouse just moves casually to the side. Mountain and Ziv say, I hope they weren't watching.
And it's not really the best feeling when you're Rumble, who you put all this emphasis on getting ahead, is actually starting to lose out on these trades against the Poppy, and that's the stage that we have kind of gotten to.
And at this point, you can see the top side depth hasn't been able to get too much more. I mean, if we're, shouting out about something, there's a 10 CS lead that's been closed, so at least by 10. It's now only 30 in the 80 carries, so more small victories.
Yeah, well, every closing of the gap is a good one, Stress. But Trinity Force is done for Clearlove, so that is a big deal. Big power spike for the Hecarim. Oh, dear. Barmy Cinder done for Mouse as well, building towards his Sunfire Cape. Cheeky little cloth armor there as well, augmenting what he already had. You can see Fawn, looks like he's going towards the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, just all, unless it's a Death Cap.
I would guess a Death Cap.
I'd
Death
hope
Cap
so
second
too.
on the Karma is
just
very
so used
common.
to Morellonomicon Rylai's. Just you see those items, you're like, yep, this is an easy one.
Yeah, and it's just something that works very well with the supportive style because it's buffing up your shields, and the pure AP that you're getting from that is really, really strong. That's part of the strength of this mid lane Karma because the shields are just absolutely massive. You have high amounts of CDR, and it allows a champion like Deft on this Lucian to be even more aggressive and more agile than he would otherwise be.
But at the same time as hell, it's not pure utility. It's not the Ardent Sensor build that we've seen, which is just, I don't want to do anything in this game. This is Pawn saying, I want a little more damage from Accuse as well, trying to get anything that he can. So EDG certainly wanting to get more damage, different sources coming out here, but they haven't got too much in the last few minutes. Still farming up, still keeping themselves ahead in CS when it comes to the 80 carry, but they're behind in the other lanes.
Oh, there's another attack from Mouse, trying to throw down with Ziv. Nice overpower as Crissadaro. Mako just sidesteps it, utilizing his passive for the extra movement speed. Nicely done.
Really nicely done there by Mako, avoiding what probably would have been a sure death on that squishy Nami. But both these teams, obviously, with a lot of confidence moving forward in this game, no one feeling any pressure, any rush to try to get into these team fights, to try to force anything. And they're both really confident. They're controlling vision, and that's mostly what this is a battle of at this point. Moving up your ward lines, denying your opponent's vision, and trying to look for these picks, especially for ahq on Wet Essence Reaver. He's going to be building into quite a bit of CDR, and he's going to be looking for these picks.
Oh, he's going to eat a calling as well as the flash, heal, and run towards Albus. The ambulance eventually coming in, but Mountain's burning down. In goes Clearlove. The exhaust is there. Mountain dies. Death grabs the kill, and EDG turn it on.
EDG pull the trigger. They see an opportunity, and Def pounces on. He forces him back. The TP comes in. They're going to get a turret, a couple kills, and will they look towards Baron? It looks like they might just go straight forward and try to at least bait here. No, they want to go for it. TP coming in.
Mouse is going to be here. The Baron has been started. EDG, very famous for this, do like to go for the very early Barons, but Charlie, he knows exactly what's going on. Ziv's taking his way over. Equalizer could be huge at the 22-minute mark, but this Baron's falling lower and lower. Aqua Prison goes wide. Good placement on the equalizer. But there's the man. Oh my goodness, the ultimate gets Joey out of there. Can they actually secure it? And they do. Clearlove grabs the Baron, and now they're looking to get themselves out. EDG, decisive play. Mouse tanks himself up the arrow, but Murph treads and a flash will get him out of there. Joey, he's so aggressive, but he can't find it. Picks up his own bomb, throws another one because he's upset, and ahq cannot find a thing.
Just beautiful by EDG. They all stay alive. All are able to escape as a team, and they pick up the Baron, which is going to be massive for them in taking out some of these extra turrets.
I was about to draw comparisons between this game and H2K versus ahq, where there was no pressure coming out from ahq's opponents, but ahq now are able to take the retreat here, but the Baron buff is on EDG. They make the explosive play up in the top lane, all from that culling, and EDG are in full control.
The Rumble ulti is down. Some of the key ultimates are missing for ahq, so I don't know if they even dare to try to defend this turret. EDG is pushing very aggressively here.
They can't get very close to this turret as well. They know the range that EDG have. If they do want to pull the trigger, the speed that Clearlove can come at them with, and EDG now own this bottom side jungle. It looks like they were just warming up for 20 minutes. Now they take a Baron and take over the game. game.
Yeah, they're just going to go right around the horn, now down to the bot lane. They had the minion waves prep, going to be able to pick up a couple turrets here, and really such an explosion of gold. Compare the items on the AD carries here. Death is going to be a monster.
And we were right, Azale. It was a Rylai's Crystal Scepter that Pawn picked up, so we should have committed to it. Unfortunately, we didn't. But still there. At least we mentioned the option. But now EDG moving themselves forward. Deft relentlessly pursues into an undertow, which ain't great.
EDG are not about to sit back, and that is the struggle for AHQ. They do have the ultimates available, but not if they win.
Both bombs are down here as well. Mouse soaks up one of them.
One thing going for AHQ, top lane is building up a very big wave and is going to be pushing towards them. Looks like EDG is content with what they've gotten, at least so far. We'll move back, pick up the dragon.
EDG sends to the top lane to soak up that minion wave. You can see Mouse has actually pulled himself back in this matchup as well. And now Pawn throwing out more poke onto Ziv. Wants to get out of the Mantrid section.
Oh, Mountain looking to go in.
Yeah, can he actually get the flank is the question. Just facing off 1v1. Another culling is deft. Gets all of the shields, all of the heals from that ebb and flow as well out of Mako. Clearlove trying to bait AHQ in with a bit of flair there.
Again, EDG just keeping the pressure up with this.
In this matchup as well. And now Pawn throwing out more poke onto Ziv. Wants to get out of the Mantrid section. Oh,
Mountain looking to go in.
Yeah, can he actually get the flank is the question though, as Clearlove Mountain just facing off 1v1. Another culling is deft. Gets all of the shields, all of the heals from that ebb and flow as well out of Mako. Clearlove trying to bait AHQ in with a bit of flair there.
Again, EDG just keeping the pressure up with this Baron buff. Mouse winds up the hammer, but gets silenced.
Red going down. The equalizer. Mountain finds his way back in. Mako's the focus as Mountain will go down. The shot down comes in onto Deft, and now EDG have to run away. The speed up from Pawn, but can Ziv get the slowdown?
Assault is coming back up. They could look to chase this if they can close the gap, but doesn't look like it. Mountain wants to go. He speeds up. Clearlove.
He was trying to empower recall. There's the arrow. Clearlove. Yeah, buddy. The max range undertow. Clearlove still pretty fast. The undertow is skirted by Clearlove. The last one can't find it. You do not deserve to live there, buddy.
That was so well played by AHQ, though. Watch them. They pull the trigger here. The silence field goes down. Beautiful rumble ulti. Deft way too far up there. Everyone pounces. Ziv flashes forward onto him. Total commitment to take down the ED carry, as they know that it's the linchpin of the EDG squad.
And the second phase of this may not have resulted in further kills for AHQ, but it's pushing EDG so far back, burning the time on that Baron buff. You saw Clearlove trying to take a risky recall, ends up getting caught by Mountain. EDG now have had their Baron buff expired, and we're back into a phase where EDG are going to have to look to make a play if they want to try and close this one out. The gap is not too far between EDG and AHQ right now that they can just look to close it out in a linear fashion.
Yeah, and the thing is as well is that you might look at this and say AHQ weren't able to pick anything up off the back of that, but you have to remember the momentum that EDG had moving into that. Of course, the Baron buff was going to expire anyway, but now as well, EDG know that they cannot make a greedy play like that one on the bottom side of the map.
And AHQ, they only lost one turret to that Baron, so that was honestly really well done. Even just defending those objectives very aggressively, knowing their limits. Very impressive stuff from AHQ, and Zilean is really going to be strong with this composition, with the speed ups, with that revive, and
Mouse.
EDG's Mouse pretty far up.
In a lot of trouble. That flash was so well placed. His equalizer maybe a little bit too early, as now EDG looking for more pressure in the mid lane. Chowie gets culled. But Deft can't find him with the last few bullets. Mountain, wants to find something, but doesn't get the undertow. EDG just getting shields out of everywhere, on mostly, as Arn getting some damage back, but AHQ stifle the aggression.
It's very difficult, though, for EDG to break the four-man pack from AHQ. And if Ziv is there, it's even more difficult to break the 5-man because that equalizer will cut EDG off. Without the right engage from Clearlove, either from the side or Mao's getting the right disengage with the hammer, going to be a tough one.
Yeah, EDG is just really struggling to siege here because Lucian's low range, and even with that protection, yes, you land some poke great from the Karma, but then we have a Soraka to heal that right back up with the Ocean Dragon, and they have such good wave clear from Mount, from Ziv, from On. Like really all across the board, these are fantastic wave clear champions for their position, so they're doing such a good job stalling it out, and it just feels like EDG is getting a little bit impatient, getting too aggressive in the bot lane there, moving forward, and that's something that AHQ is always going to try to capitalize on.
And while right now On is significantly far behind Deft, you cannot overlook that difference. It is going to kind of tilt away from EDG when it comes to the AD carry differences because On should get a lot of farm. This build Deft is going for, the Black Luba build, isn't a particularly strong late game build against tanks, and there's a lot of regenerative healing coming out from Albus as well. So if Deft falls like we saw earlier, there's going to be a lack of damage coming out from EDG.
And I'd also say, yes, he is still far ahead, but at this point in the game, proportionally, he's not nearly as ahead as he was in the early game. Yes, he's up 1,000 gold or a little bit over that, but it's not the end of the world here because On is getting to a point where he's getting pretty relevant. He's picked up his second item, has the Hurricane finally, which is going to mean he's going to get a lot of CDR from that Essence Reaver, and he's working towards his third item. Deft is obviously stronger at this point in the game, but On is playing and embracing a supportive role, and he's doing it well.
And that's the bit we can't overlook. The engages that are coming out from On as well. Yeah. Hasn't it been 100%, but you know, you miss every arrow you don't shoot out.
Exactly right.
Certainly has hit a couple that have been real pivotal. So for On, it's actually been a pretty solid performance considering how the laning phase went.
And a lot of it comes down to where EDG are picking fights as well. I mean, if they pick a fight in a corridor, it doesn't matter how far behind On is because Deft will get killed. If he's trying to do damage, he's going to be caught by either a double bomb, stand in an equalizer, something like that. AHQ have so many tools in these tight choke points. EDG need to start respecting it.
They definitely do, but at the same time, you know, one bad engage here by AHQ, and Deft will be able to tear them apart because he has so much support from his team. And it's really a delicate balance here, which is leading me to believe that a lot of the game may end up being decided around Baron because EDG is just struggling to actually finish this out.
There's the ultimate as Ziv has to flash himself out. The ult comes in from Clearlove and Ziv gets healed. Oh my goodness, can they turn this one around? The Wish really turning it on its head. EDG transition it into an inner turret, but they can't get the kill.
Finally cracked that tower. Keep in mind, that was the tower that EDG were trying to push with the Baron buff. They made the play onto Dragon while holding Pawn up in the bot lane, trying to hold the tower with the Baroned up minions for a long time, nearly 6 minutes ago.
There are a lot of oceans this game.
Finally get it, yeah, exactly. Just
third one coming in. Now can take it down, EDG. Take that one up. Elder Dragon is going to be the next one, so we're not going to see anything but ocean this time around.
Well, EDG, if they do get the Elder, are going to regen after fight incredibly quickly with 2 plus the Elder. But speaking of regeneration, or at least like kind of getting yourself back into the swing of things, Choey hasn't looked out of place here from AHQ, considering this is his first professional game in 6 months against China's #1. Credit to him on this performance.
Not only has he not looked out of place, he's actually playing incredibly well for the team. I think he's been their best performer so far in this game against EDG, and it just really speaks to how hard he's practicing and his work ethic that we've heard so much about. This guy is a real grinder. He works extremely hard, and that hard work is really showing here.
Yeah, and it's also really obvious when you see a Zilean that isn't necessarily working out. The ultimate is something that is so important to get on exactly the right targets. The double bombs in team fights. The fact that it was able to take down Deft by holding onto that cooldown, making sure that it was guaranteed. Really looking fantastic for Choey.
Yeah, he's been on point with his ultimates, and it's also, with this build that Deft is going, especially now because he's picked up a Hex Drinker, even more kind of defensive, it can be very tough to take down someone like Olaf, but Ziv's in trouble.
One more time, Clearlove and Mouse, the Death Squad, are going to be able to take it, and the Equalizer doesn't do anything. Mako is going to be the trade in the mid lane. Now On, you hit the arrow and then it's fine.
But look at what they've sacrificed bottom side. The distance here that they've got to run, AHQ will have to come back to the bot lane, which means they can't actually capitalize. It's a trade 1-for-1 on the kills. AHQ don't get any objectives from it, and EDG will be okay with that for now.
Yeah, Clearlove manning the jungle here on the bottom side as well. As you could see, Mouse is standing on top of a ward, but he's going to be fine.
And here is On setting up for that arrow. Nails it. Would have loved to get depth there. Was very close to it. But will take the secondary prize of Mako.
So close, and honestly, I'm glad to see Anne just firing out those arrows when it is necessary. We see so many Ashe players just sit back and hold the ult and just go, oh, well, we could use it, but do we really want to trade for one kill? Smart play out of AHQ, knowing they had to get something from that situation.
Yeah, consistently going for that. You're going to be rewarded. You will get those eventually. And now it's EDG sieging up here in the mid lane once again, but good wave clear from Chawi.
Yeah, and well, actually, whoa, okay, that's,
he's got his Nikes on.
That is a Viking on steroids, ladies and gentlemen. And that is very, very scary. His legs move inhumanly fast, as now there's a fight towards the bottom side of the map, potentially, between both Mouse and Ziv.
They're looking to set that up once again, and Ziv really needs help getting some more vision to protect himself from Clearlove and this constant gank that they're moving for.
Oh, Mountain actually takes a fair bit of damage. Remember, there's a Soraka to help heal him back up again. AHQ just disengaged. They lose themselves a blue buff, but that isn't really too much of a problem here for this team.
No.
Areas like that, though, in the jungle, the small choke points favor AHQ in these fights. The equalizer, the double bomb that can come out from Chawi, the arrow, all of these are so much easier to hit, but EDG want to draw this down into the bottom lane, into the open ground where Ziv doesn't have the comfort of being able to land a perfect equalizer every single time, but he's not falling for it this time, Azael. He's backed away to his tower.
And that's what he needs to do. He just needs to wave clear at his turret because there's not really any reason for him to be out there. He's not going to be able to bully the Poppy in that 1v1 matchup, and just needs to kind of respect that.
Well, Mountain trying to clear out vision. Pink ward will go, though. Deft and Mako secure themselves that. Ziv hanging around, does, of course, have the equalizer back up. Enchanted Crystal Arrow back up as well. AHQ have options. As you can see, Infinity Edge has just been completed by Arn on top of the Void Staff here for Ziv. So AHQ, if there's ever a power spike in items, it would be right now.
Yeah, these are really key items now coming in, and that Void Staff especially, dealing with some of these frontliners, Mouse and Clearlove, that Ziv has been fighting up against. He's going to be very strong, and even looking to Chawi, he's completed a lot of his major items. So this game is getting to the point where it's going to be very explosive when we do have a fight, and one fight can decide the game this late into it.
And again, though, EDG are having to play a little safer. They haven't been able to secure deep vision control yet on AHQ's jungle. You can see solid line of pink wards. 3 scattered through the entrances to AHQ's top side. Jungle denies EDG's ability to play around Baron significantly right now. There's no way of getting the wards down, so no way of getting the bait. And unless EDG can somehow make a play to push in, it's not really worth it for them to try and fight over it now. They need to try and catch somebody out somehow, but the tools just aren't there without going all in.
And On hanging around here constantly, has that rank 3 ultimate now, can be looking for that. The cooldown is going to be very short at this point, and he will keep fishing for these arrows. We'll see if he can come up with a key target, because even looking at someone like Deft, he doesn't have a QSS, and he's very likely not ever going to be building one.
Well, we'll see whether he decides to omit extra armor penetration from the build. But it just looks like AHQ, I mean, they have the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. They have a lot of opportunities to catch EDG out. What is EDG's method? How do they go about cracking AHQ right now? Because it looks like they're searching and can't find anything.
To me, they're just not really doing the due diligence on setting up vision. They need to look for fights around objectives, around the Baron, because they're struggling. That Culling can't be healed that quickly, but misses a couple of the bullets.
And this is exactly what EDG just did as you were talking about it, Azael.
They're going straight on the Baron.
They finally get some of those pink wards away, but they haven't secured the vision. All they know is that AHQ can't control it for themselves. They back away from it. But again, now we're in a situation where EDG have to do exactly the same thing for a second time. They have to remove those pink wards, get wards of their own, and get that territorial line pushed all the way back in.
I mean, that hawk shot will always be there for Arn. So it's not like you can just clear out vision and then they'll have no idea with no option. I mean, you can't count the blue trinkets because Arn will always have that one. It's like you have to count drones as well that are skirting over the top of you.
Yeah, you certainly do. But with the Elder Dragon spawning, this does open up a secondary major objective, right? You can split the map. There can be trades. And obviously, On is worried about that, shooting over his E, checking out, making sure that that Elder was not being taken.
And there's the last Whisper picked up as well. So Arn very strong on this Ashe, despite being 100 CS down.
I was going to say, very rarely does somebody who's getting Flame Horizon have impact in a game. Generally not the case. Very close to it. Hasn't ticked over 100. I've been keeping my eyes on it, trying to just see when it goes. But still, with the engage, with the vision control, it's enough to slow EDG down, and then not able to capitalize. Arrow comes out again.
Yeah, Pawn's going to sidestep. The immediate culling in response. R buttons exchanged as Deft going very far forward, but does dodge all of the abilities. EDG, we know that they are hungry. They are champing at the bit to try and kill ahq, but they're just playing so protective, so safe. Non-committal CC flying out.
Yeah, a bit of a poor shot there, though, by On. He could have just shot it straight down the corridor. Probably at least got someone. But EDG is on the Elder, and it does not seem to get there. Well, where
the drone? 3,000 health now. Yeah, this is just going to go down. The Baron is looking to be traded, but can they actually kill it in time is the question.
No, this is way too dangerous, especially with the Elder buff on their opponents. If they take a fight now, it could be devastating for them. The HQ needs to avoid a fight at this point.
Clearlove's going to be super fast. There's the title. Everyone's trying to flush, but there are the knockouts. In goes the horse. Albus is going to get targeted. The Soraka trying to be dealt with. The ultimate has been used on him, but he's out of position. Pawn will grab the kill now. ahq, they're going to get chased down. They're going to get corralled, or can they turn it around is the question. Looks like EDG not going to fully commit.
ahq got up and out of the danger zone for that fight. And EDG, they're going for Baron. They are fairly low here, but no ultimates are available that are significant. Apart from Arns, he has the arrow available. The health bars are too high now, though. EDG
needs to land
that regeneration from the Ocean Drake as well here. If Chowie can get a good stun, maybe it's enough.
Yep, Deft is going to secure a Mountain now in trouble. He gets stunned up, bubble, destroyed. Arrow's going to go wide. Ziv trying to deal with Deft, but he can't. As now Mountain is going to get taken down. There's no ultimate from Chowie. On and the man himself are going to just try and run towards the base with Albus just respawning.
HQ had done such a good job the whole game, and then they take a fight into the Elder. Complete lapse of judgment. And look at the res timers. Over 40 seconds on Ziv and Mount. This is so dangerous.
Buddies, they're looking for Chowie. Another ultimate destroyed as the Zillion. Pop goes the Ash. And Albus is running away. EDG using their Baron. Take down an inner turret. Inhibitor turret going to fall. And that was the decisive play we were looking for.
Chowie didn't have his ultimate available for either himself or On, and EDG are going to look to take this game.
And looking so much better while they do it as well. Stresses Deft, flashes the